Morlock had dedicated his whole life to magic. After many years he became the best magician in the world. The obsession he had made him forget his family, and therefore his daughter had died. From that day on he will look for a way to revive his daughter. Let's start this story. Morlock had a family and a daughter whom he loved very much. But as he loved to create and investigate magic, they could not be together. She had given him a necklace made of stones. He apologizes to her for not being at home much, as he tries very hard with magic so that in the future they will have a peaceful life. One day the little girl had fallen ill. The mother tried to take care of her daughter as best she could until her husband arrived. At night, Morlock returned home. But as he was focused on being the best magician, he only came to get some of his books and left, leaving his wife and daughter behind. The next day, he came back with flying colors, exclaiming that he had become the best magician in the kingdom, bragging about his achievement. The wife had bad news for him. The daughter they had raised had died. Morlock was obsessed with being the best magician in the world, but an oversight caused his daughter to die. The wife separated from him and preferred to wander the world. While this best magician in the world could not revive his daughter, he destroys all his books and researches because he thought he would never have his daughter's happiness again. In the midst of the madness, he could observe a book related to the magic of time. The next day he set out to travel the world to learn the magic of time and return to the past. His journey led him to this labyrinth. He explored these caves thoroughly and managed to find a sealed door. As he was an experienced magician, he managed to enter with ease. Inside that place, he found objects and things he had never seen before, and most importantly he found manuscripts on how to use time magic. A mysterious being was inside these facilities. Morlock asked if this being had written the magic of time. That being that appeared wanted to subdue the old man, but he managed to defend himself with his magic, causing a clash of power. Morlock had lost the battle. He was on the floor. He asked for help to recover his daughter. This being had won the battle with some difficulty. He was furious to find nothing interesting in this world. He explains that he will go to another world where he can find something better. But before leaving he will free him from the suffering he has. A ray of light illuminates the whole area. Morlock thinks that his time to die has come. He apologizes to his daughter for not being a good father. Later Morlock had left the labyrinth, but he had no memory of anything. He only had a necklace of stones in his hand, where he put his name. That was a gift from his daughter, but he did not know it. Since that day he wandered through the labyrinth in search of something. As he had lost his memory, he did not know it. Over time he became part of a group of adventurers. He had a good relationship with them and lived happily in ignorance. The whole group knew that Morlock was a great magician, but he had trouble remembering the spells. Saito is the newest member of the group. He used to belong to another world. He worked as a locksmith and did other jobs to make a living. Now that he had come to this new world he decided to become an explorer. His specialty was opening doors and mysterious chests. Ryelza is a very powerful warrior who could not get along with other warriors and ended up joining this group. As time went by she fell in love with Saito. And finally Lefan, she is an eccentric fairy, specialized in healing magic, and she will be the support of the group. Despite her stature she always asks for money for anything. This peculiar group explores the labyrinth in various missions, some easy, while others difficult. As Saito came from another world, he always had fresh ideas and skills uncommon in this world. The king of this country seemed ignorant and of little importance, but he had good political relations and had even befriended the demon king. As great friends, this demon began to work for the king, something unusual in this world. In faraway areas, a ruthless man ends the lives of his victims. He is a ruthless ninja who has no remorse in ending the life of his prey. When he steps on the shadow of his victims, that person stops moving and the job is easy. He had been hired to kill a witch who had lived for over 400 years. As usual, he stepped on the woman's shadow to finish this quickly, but it turns out that the witch's shadow sent him to the demonic world. As he was sent into the demon world, he could see a beautiful face with a charming smile. Something inside this ninja's cold heart had awakened. After a week, the ninja had returned from the depths of the demon world. This time he was accompanied by friends he had made in that world. They were demons. They are ready to help in the fight. The demons nullify this witch's magic and he quickly steps on the shadow and prevents her from moving. She thought she was going to die, but she had received a kiss on the lips. She could not understand why this man was doing this. The ninja had fallen in love. Meanwhile, Morlock's group was exploring the labyrinth as usual. Saito was in trouble. When he came to this world, he came with tools from his work, but now his wire cutter was broken. The old wizard explained that he had heard of a legendary blacksmith, but he was well hidden. As if it was no big deal, they find the legendary blacksmith and quickly asked him for help with his wire cutter, and he easily fixes it. The blacksmith was kind and didn't charge them much money and even invited them to lunch. Saito didn't have any magic or power. He wanted to be of help in the group, so he pondered if he could ask this man to create a shotgun. But then he realized that it could bring more disasters to this world and preferred that Rielza teach him how to use the sword, but she had fallen asleep. Even though this maze was gigantic, it was starting to get empty and there were not many rewards. A strange object catches Sato's attention. It was a cleaning robot. This robot came from his world. In an involuntary act, the robot leaves inside a narrow cave. Morlock senses that there is a secret spell behind the rocks and tries to dispel them. Even though this old man was a sorcerer, he always forgot the spells, but there was Saito as always to help remind him of the spells. Morlock dispels the entrance, and the great door opens before their eyes. They felt a great power coming from inside and preferred not to enter. Instead, they informed the kingdom about this discovery. Since that day, many adventurers came to this labyrinth to explore the new cave. These people were exceptional and powerful. Now that the cave seemed relatively safe to enter, they decided to explore it. Saito was the most hopeful to find the robot he saw yesterday. A handsome man thanked Saito for finding a magnificent place. This man introduced himself as the hero of the kingdom and left to seek his fortune. The whole audience starts to be shocked. Someone important had come out of the labyrinth. The general of the royal guard and the king's prime minister had come out with a dragon's head. People were very excited. More at night, the general and the prime minister talk about the appearance of this new cave. They had explored the cave, but did not find what they were looking for. It was wider than they thought. When suddenly a dagger pierces the body of the minister. It was the ninja. With the power of his skills, he manages to defeat the general of the guard. Recall that the general is the demon king, being sliced with ease. In a last instance, the prime minister had used forced teleportation in order to escape. The demon king was still alive, but he had many wounds. The king of this country is a little afraid, since it was his idea to reveal the existence of many treasures of that cave. He can't believe that he had attracted someone dangerous. Morlock and his group had encountered dangerous monsters with which they could not fight, but they knew how to make good friends inside this labyrinth. During a whole week they met new people. Saito met an ambitious mage with a big nose. Other days they explored together with the hero's group, and sometimes with an elf. If one wants to survive inside this labyrinth, they had to work together. One day Saito had finally found the robot. He quickly chased after it to catch it. As he ran to catch it, he came to a place where he found a lot of objects that should not exist in this world. When suddenly, a light blinds his sight. It was a small fairy who was the culprit. From behind, the ninja is ready to kill him. Rielza arrives in time to defend him and prevent the person he loves from being killed. The ninja charges back with the attack, but another adventurer prevents them from harming Saito. Sato's friends arrive to save him. Seeing that he was outnumbered, the ninja decides to leave. Morlock could not understand what this place was. The adventurer who helped them stares at the old man and tells him that he has been looking for him for more than 20 years, calling him master. Morlock looks him straight in the eye and says that he doesn't know him. Saito explains that Morlock has lost his memory and knows nothing of his past. This adventurer is called Jirbu. He cannot believe that his master was in this labyrinth. For 20 years he was looking for his master. Jibu explains that his master is the best magician in the Far East. One day he had left in search of forbidden magic and had never returned. The other boys are surprised that this old man is someone important. Jibu scolds them because this old man deserves more respect. He explains that Morlock is not his real name, he was the great wizard Bergheim. This old man seems to remember something. When suddenly Jibu receives an attack. The ninja had returned, but this time he had brought reinforcements for the fight. What motivates this ninja to seek a confrontation? Two demons and a ninja go in search of the witch. This time the ninja wanted to show his love for the witch before everyone. He found the place where she lived. He was a little afraid to enter. He explored this house. Everything was in ruins and it didn't look like anyone was alive. He found an old woman prostrate on the floor. She was completely finished. This woman's life was coming to an end. Then he realized that this woman is the person he loved. A voice in the distance tells him not to touch her. She was a dark fairy. She explains that very soon the witch will die of aging. A very powerful demon cursed this woman. Thanks to the curse she could not die. However, she had one condition. She was not to fall in love with anyone. However, she had been captivated by the ninja. He would be guilty, since because of him the person he loves was about to die. He considers himself the best ninja and mercilessly killed his victims, but today he was crying for a woman. The fairy explains that there is a great wizard who is able to control time. If they look for this person, they could reverse the aging of the witch Ravella. The solution was in this labyrinth. The ninja could not waste time. He had to defeat these people and look for the Wizard of Time. But these guys were difficult to face. As time went on, more and more people began to arrive and fight against him. Sato's friends had arrived to join the fight. Now the advantage that the ninja was having was lost. Two mages performing a joint attack against the demon. The ninja knew that such celestial power could defeat one of the demons. He could not tolerate this. Those demons were like brothers to him. He had met them in the demonic world, and they had managed to overcome hell together. The ninja without much trouble decided to protect his friend. As he was a human, he managed to survive the celestial power. They were now in a stalemate, where no one attacks. Saito asks them to stop the fight, but one of the adventurers explains that these guys are suspected of having attacked people indiscriminately, and it is better to eliminate them here. The little fairy does not want to give up in this fight. She needed to find the mage to get her friend back. She decides to summon a level 8 spell, for which they needed to have her wings removed. The ninja didn't want to do it, but he also needed to get his beloved back. This is the story of Prismara, a dark fairy. She had always been chased by adventurers. All those people wanted to catch her. She thought they were following her because she was pretty, so she decided to gain weight by eating a lot. Even though she had gained weight, the adventurers still chased her as a valuable object. Until one day she had been captured. That day she would never forget. A woman had come to her rescue. Everyone told her she was a witch, but to her she was a friend. From that day on they began to live together as inseparable friends. The witch told her how a demon had cursed her, and that she would never die, and also told her about the condition that she should never fall in love. The witch presumed that she had lived 400 years and that she could not fall in love because she had already passed that stage. But one day the witch told her that a man had kissed her. That day the witch had broken the contract and began to age. The fairy asked in tears to break her wings, so she could get her friend back. The ninja could not do it. Prismara called him a coward and she herself cut her wings. She hated adventurers with all her soul. The only one who treated her with respect was Ravella. She accumulated the power of magic. She had summoned a pillar of eyes, squandering enormous power. This pillar of eyes began to shoot out a great amount of magic. All these adventurers began to have difficulty defending themselves. The power that this pillar was spreading made it difficult to maintain the defense. At any moment they would die. Morlock conjured his best spell to defeat this pillar of eyes. He did not fully remember the spell, but Saito did know the spell and together they cast a powerful lightning bolt. It was not enough. They had hope in that attack, but it was in vain. Saito asks him to use that secret spell, the magic to stop time. Morlock asks how he knows about that spell. Saito answers that he read the book he gave him a long time ago. He had memorized the spell completely in case this happens. Saito asks if it was he who summoned him to this world. Morlock, in a calm state, recalled his past. He had dedicated his life to be the best magician, and he had succeeded, but the cost was that his daughter had died. He remembered the man who could dominate time, and how his memory had been erased. That little memory was something of a leak. Morlock said he would try to conjure that spell in order to win in the fight. This old man did not know the spell, but beside him was his companion to help him remember the words. Thanks to the help of the others, Morlock was able to stop time. This old man had forgotten his purpose. He wondered who and how he got here. He looked around and recognized his friends. The old man looked at his hand and realized that a note had been left in his hand to remind him of his purpose. He remembered that he only had 100 seconds before time returns to normal, and he conjures one of his best spells to end this. During the attack, he can observe how these enemies were doing what they were doing for a reason. They were looking for an important person to heal a woman. Time was running out and Morlock began to sympathize with the enemies. All the time continued its course, and the Pillar of Eyes had been destroyed. The other adventurers could not understand what had happened when they saw Morlock without a hand. The others tried to heal the old man, but he prefers that they heal the dark fairy. He explains that while time stood still he could feel the feelings and why they were fighting. Prismara refuses to get help from someone who gets along with humans, but they remind him that he gets along with the ninja who is human. Morlock regained his hand. It was time to chat with the ninja, when suddenly swords materialize and are about to kill the ninja. One of the demons sacrifices himself so that his human friend does not die. Those responsible were the general and the prime minister. It seems that another confrontation was about to happen, when suddenly one of the demons manages to recognize the demon king. These demons were relatives. They decided not to fight and listen to the ninja's story to know whether to spare their lives or kill them. All the adventurers heard how the ninja had fallen in love with a woman who had lived for years and how because of the ninja she had grown old, being close to death. So he was willing to do anything to save the girl he loved. They made a count of all the real victims of the ninja and came to the conclusion that there were actually no real victims during this fight. Morlock looks closely at the ninja and explains to him that the person he is looking for is not in this world. He explains that the time he saw the time wizard, he went to another dimension or most likely another world. The only hope the ninja had was lost. The Prime Minister tells him that there is a solution to help the woman, but it could cost him his life. All the ninja's friends tell him to take care of his life, but the ninja already had it clear. He bowed his head to help him save that person. If she doesn't live, life was meaningless to him. The others empathized with the ninja and let him go. The demons returned to the demonic world. The Prime Minister explains that he will take him to see the person who will fulfill his wish. The ninja apologized to Saito and the others for trying to kill them. Saito looked at him and told him that he was just doing his job. The ninja left. More adventurers started to arrive in this area. Saito and the others tried to retrieve the robot or other things that are of value. The next day, a man with a long beard arrived at the witch's house. That man had come to fulfill someone's request. Next to him was the ninja. This man with the white beard pulls out a blood-red sword and explains that the sword consumes life energy. If he wants to save the witch, he must risk his life. The ninja explains that in the past he had to kill many people to order, but since he met his friends in the witch, he did not see the point. Now he reflects and regrets his actions. He can't believe he killed people in the past. Surely those people were important to someone else. The man with the beard tells her that he will grant her wish. That same evening, the witch had returned to her original form. She doesn't understand what has happened. She leaves her house to look outside and notices a man standing outside. That man had no body parts. She stares at him. The ninja had not died, but had decided to share the sacrifice of life energy with the dark fairy. The witch looks directly at him and asks him who he is. She says she doesn't remember anything, as she was sleeping for a long time. The ninja can understand that she lost her memory, and decides to leave. A small woman appears. It was the dark fairy. She tells him that he is a coward for not staying with her. He explains that it is better for them to be separated because he has enemies that could bring trouble. Prismara called him a coward. She asks him if it was worth risking her arm and leg. She had lost her wings and her weight. She asks if it was really worth sacrificing. Something sounds from behind. Some bullies were bothering the witch. She could not defend herself. She had no magic. The ninja quickly goes to defend her. Despite his disability, he manages to fight against these bullies. He won easily, but did not kill them. He had promised never to kill anyone else. The witch thanks him. Prismara tells her that she is ungrateful. If she really wants to thank them, why doesn't she invite them to eat some wheat crackers? The witch smiles and tells them that she can give them something to eat, and invites them into her house. The witch had lost her memories, but surely the ninja and she would fall in love again. A few days after leaving the labyrinth, Morlock felt very tired and could not participate in any more explorations. The other members of his group left on their own to continue searching for more treasures. After 4 days, they finally managed to get out of the labyrinth. With one less member, it was not easy to do so. They decided to visit the old man to see how he was doing. When they arrived at the room, they only found an empty room. The owner of the inn explained that the old man had passed away 3 days ago.